today I'm going to be talking about another villain review, and they are the crocodile bandits from Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness. Now, if you don't know who they are crocodiles that try to steal. They're not totally evil. They're like, just these, they're very comical and they have a lot of their funny scenes, and they do make me laugh. And the sad reality for crocodiles in the Kung Fu Panda world, except for the Croc Master, is that okay, is that the crocodiles, especially the wool stealing croc bandits, which the Crocodile Master from Kung Fu Panda 2 used to be, it's very similar to these guys as well. And we're gonna be talking about what they do and their personality and which characters they are. And let's get right to it. First up is the leader named Feng. Yes, Feng. Okay, and let's talk about his behavior. Now, he is extremely angry and aggressive because of his minions doing stupid things and not doing simple tasks that Feng asked them to do. Also, he has this habit of throwing, you see his helmet down on the floor when he gets angry at pretty much anyone, or gets angry at something or someone. So, yes. And he also has a father named Bing and a cousin named Ledong, which we'll get on later. So, there's even this one episode where his minions betray him and become Poe's leader and master. So, yes. If you didn't watch the TV show, do not watch this because it is spoilers. So, let's get on with this character back. So, also he reforms with Gary, which we'll get into later, and that's pretty much known about this guy, about his story and his behavior. And yes, when he has his relation with Poe, it is pretty like it's kind of like a one-off relationship because most of the time you'll see him fighting Poe and the Furious Five, but then many times in the TV show when they stumble upon each other, they and in the ending as well, they do help each other get through like lots of situations and enemies. So that's pretty much it for Feng. And not much is known about all these Croc bandits, so I won't get too much detail. But the Lidong, his cousin, is the only one that has a real backstory. So let's get on to the next character. Next is his right hand man, Gary. No, not Gary. Gary. Ghari. Okay, so Gary. Well, he is probably the only one in this list who yeah, he's probably the least evil out of all of them we're gonna be talking about in today. So, Gari. Yes. He's Feng's right hand man, and he can be easily identified by him. He doesn't have any spots on him. He's really skinny. He doesn't have any skin flaps on him. So you'll pretty much identify him. And also he can be easily identified by his long snout. So let's get right into this character. So sometimes you'll see him stealing along with his fellow croc buddies, especially Feng. But there's this one side episode where he betrays Feng and they both argue and Poe manages to fight them off, but and then he cries over the end. He reforms at the end and becomes adopted by Mr. Ping. But when Feng comes over, he starts having a huge meltdown, and until the ending where these two get back together. Even though Gary tries to get rid of his tantrums and anger, Feng still does it. So that's and he also partners up with Fung in the last episodes. So yes, that is the story and behavior of Gary. He's probably the smartest one out of all of them as well, except that he talks bad. He has self bad talk. So let's get on to this next character, and he's the third main Croc bandit. He's probably the funniest one on this list. Right here, Walleye. You'll see he's silly, and he is. So, yes, he does steal along with the Croc bandits. He can be identified by his cross eyes. He has like cross eyes, and yeah. And there in the episode where Fung's bandit henchmen don't want to be with Fung anymore, and this is and when they were all playing music, they were all terrible at music, and this also ended up, you see, in the bamboo flute stuck in his nose. Well, he's still playing the bamboo flute, and also when he takes it out off screen, he drinks it. He drinks it out of his flute in the noodle soup. Yes. So Wale is a pretty silly character. He still he still tags along with the Croc Bandits, and that's pretty much it with this guy. Except that he's like the silliest crocodile in the TV show. He's super duper hilarious, and He also mentions his lines incorrectly, like "It's more yummier this way," like that. But he can tell the difference from right and wrong. He still has his own. He can still tell difference between like behaviors or whatnot, like personalities. Now let's check. Let's get on to this next character. This is the short crocodile named Wong. Yep, this guy's name is Wong. So he is the short crocodile. Whenever there's this one weird scene where where he like sees short people and he laughs along with his bandits, but he's just as short. I'm trying to make the screen brighter. There you go. Okay, so not really much is known about Wong except that he is this short crocodile that's sometimes, I mean, not all the time, but mostly tags along with Fung and the crocodiles. And he's like this. I don't know. I don't know how to describe him, but he's just short. That's pretty much it about him, and he doesn't speak that often. So let's move on to the next character. He's very easy to identify. Next up, we have Lidong. Now we finally get to. Oh, sorry, Siri. I mean Alexa. So, Lidong. Okay. The screen's bright. Okay. So. Okay. Fung. That's Fung's cousin, and also Bing's nephew. Yeah. Yes. Okay. We don't know what Lidong's parents are, but yeah, he he also has this tragic backstory about. He has this tragic backstory about him being like the smallest crocodile in the world, and then he gets picked on by other crocodiles. But then, when he started to grow, his growth spurt, he says, he started having more respect. And also, because of his backstory, all he wants is being the biggest individual out there. He doesn't want anyone bigger than him because of his sad backstory. It's short but very sad. He also has fights with Poe and Tigress. He lost against Tigress, but he's very easy to defeat Poe. He has like a couple early episodes where he does appear as one of the main villains, but his biggest role is in the episode called Huge, which is a very clever name because of this guy. And also he has a fight with Mantis. There's like this growing potion, and Mantis becomes bigger than Lidong, and he was like upset about this, and decided to drink his own potion, aka like the going. Yes, and he drinks it, and so he starts fighting with Mantis, but lost anyway. And he has not only he has shrunk into his normal size, but he has shrunk into even smaller, and he is not seen again. But I would love it if he would reform along with Fung, Gary, Walleye, and the other crocodiles. That would have been awesome. And he is a really, really cool bandit. And I would even make him out of, like, I would even make him out of arts and crafts one day. And that's that's it about him. Yes, he's this muscular crocodile who wants to be big. And the last one who has a name we don't even know about. His name is Irwin. And you can assume he's one of the generic crocodiles that can be seen with Fung. But I didn't really notice him, but this is the best image you can find about this guy. And not really much is known about him except that he's one of the he's one of the bandits, and he is seen along with the Croc bandits. He's like along with the generic crocodiles, you can say. And now the other crocodiles that are seen in this show, they don't even have names. They're just there to be henchmen of Fung. And that is it for them. But wait, don't go. We are also talking about what species these guys. Now, Kung Fu Panda has species that can be any animals from the old world. So, let's get right to it. So, I don't know even much about. I know a lot of crocodile species, but I don't know much about them in China. Let's look that up right now. Croc in China. The best one I could find is a Chinese alligator, but that is not the case. However, the best I could find is the Nile crocodile. They are super aggressive, and I don't want to get compared to the saltwater because they're super big. These guys are kind of small in the croc bandits. They're kind of small. So I guess it can be the Nile crocodile because they have like the olive green color, and they're they're really aggressive, and yeah, they're aggressive, and they have like this olive green color that you can assume. And of course, the Nile crocodile is found widespread around Africa, and many African animals appear in Kung Fu Panda. So you can assume he's a Nile crocodile. Next up is Gary. Because of his name, he can definitely be the Indian gharial. They both have like the long snout, and they're not as aggressive as other crocodile species. And they're not, and people don't, unless if okay, these guys aren't, because he can be the Indian gharial because the long snout and the less aggressive temper, their even temperness, whatever. So yes, he can definitely be the Indian gharial. I'm not sure about walleye, but okay, I gotta look that. Oh, wait, okay, so what crocodile can he be? Maybe he can be the mugger crocodile. Let's look that up. Yeah, he can be the mugger crocodile for sure. Mugger crocodiles are not usually as aggressive, and they have like this thick rotund body, so he can definitely beat this guy. Next is Wong. There's this one. Feng said that he. Okay, he said that there's like we're like crocodiles but smaller, and Gary said dwarf crocodiles. But they're crocodiles but smaller. They can be called caimans, but caimans are part of the alligator family, and these guys are crocodiles, not alligators. There's the Chinese alligator, but these guys are crocodiles, like I said. But this guy can probably be the dwarf crocodile, like Gary said, and he said that in front of Wong. So he can definitely be the African dwarf crocodile. That's like the small crocodile in the old world, and they're like stout. They're pretty stout and they're short, so that's why it can be this guy. Next up is probably the most mysterious. Next up is Lidong. Now this one's gonna be kind of mysterious. Let me go back. Yeah, okay. Back to Lidong. He can. Well, this is not obviously real, but Kung Fu Panda, it is fantasy, so we're gonna probably assume him as a Sarcosuchus, which is an extinct crocodile in Africa from the Cretaceous period. So, because I think this is just fantasy, they don't. Also, Africa is the old world, so not so Europe is also part of the old world, but we're not gonna assume that. So Europe is more like, you know, but this is like Africa and Asia is kind of like a different fantasy. So Wong Sono, Lidong can probably be a Sarcosuchus. They're both big. He cannot be saltwater because they're pretty. Their snout is they have like a broad snout, very similar to an alligator. But don't be confused. Alligators have they only have. You can see that alligators are darker in color. They have a round snout. They only have their top teeth exposing when their mouth is closed. Crocodiles, they're lighter, like an olive green or brown. They what else? They have a pointy snout, and when their mouth closed, both their bottom and upper teeth show up. So he's definitely a crocodile. All these are crocodiles, and also yes, they all have that pointy snout, and they're all light green. So this guy can beat the Sarcosuchus. Also, yeah, saltwater crocodiles are not only found in Australia; they're found also in South Asia, but still. Last is Irwin. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's he can probably be another mugger crocodile. I would assume they're both kind of like a darker color, and they're kind of bulky, so I guess that can work. So that's all the crocodile bandits for today. Like, subscribe, see you for the next video.